to get off this island.
The legacy of King Kong, the monstrous gorilla and the mysterious Skull Island where he resides has achieved legendary status over the decades. While Kong's origins have always been shrouded in mystery, the mythical value of Skull Island, the otherworldly place in the middle of nowhere, is no less. Various adaptations have explored the possibility of a variety of strange and gigantic creatures residing there, and the new Netflix animated series Skull Island takes a similar route. The narrative starts off with a group of shipwrecked people who have to fend off the strange creatures of the island, and in this video we will explore every single one that you will encounter in the series. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The giant tentacled sea monster. This is one of the first creatures that you will come across while watching Skull Island, and this incredible beast is easily one of the deadliest antagonists in the narrative. It is a strange monstrosity, and until the very last episode, we don't even get a closer look at it. It looks like a giant blue squid, but there are certain features that will remind you of an octopus. The creature has unbelievably long tentacles, and its 6 tentacles can be used to grab the prey. It also has 2 powerful pincers that can strike a lethal blow and also be used to get a death hold on the prey. This sea monster will remind you of Kraken, an intelligent titan that lived for 1,000,000 years, according to various versions of the Monsterverse. In the first episode, the sea monster effortlessly sinks ships, and its attacks show that human weapons and efforts are simply no match for its strength. It uses the tentacles to wrap around the ship and exerts enough force to break it in half. It grabs a few crew members from Cap's ship before the survivors find themselves on Skull Island. These tentacles are also capable of electrocuting and poisoning the prey, and when Mike is injured from the initial attack, we see him slowly slipping into a near-death state from the poisoning effect. The electricity generation in this creature is almost like that of an electric eel, and the shocks can be powerful enough to temporarily immobilize someone like Kong as well, the strongest creature on Skull Island. When the shipwrecked crew summoned a helicopter to escape from the island, the sea monster extended its tentacles to the skies and snapped the chopper out of thin air, breaking it in half. The true extent of the sea monster's powers can be understood from the fact that it could hurl a whale from the ocean into the island, just as a way to tease Kong. It is also shrewd enough to know that it would be no match for Kong if it came on land. There is also no reason to believe that it could survive on land for a long period of time. It kept attempting to draw Kong into the waters, and the climactic fight with Kong is one that you wouldn't forget in a long time. The giant ape finds it almost impossible to free himself from the powerful clutches of the monster's tentacles, and it almost manages to drown Kong before he uses the debris of the sunken ship to fight back. Strictly in size comparison, the creature stands almost as tall as Kong, and if you take the long tentacles into account, the sea monster is a lot bigger than Kong. It is never satisfying for the viewer without a capable opponent for someone like Kong, and the sea monster easily outranks the T-Rex as one of the deadliest enemies of the gigantic ape. Kong, the undisputed king and apex predator of Skull Island. Of course, a series exploring the diverse terrain and creatures of Skull Island wouldn't be complete without a significant role for the most powerful among them. Every version of Skull Island in various adaptations has maintained 2 things in particular. Kong is the apex predator and the undisputed king of the island, and he shares an amicable relationship with the native islanders, the Iwi. These humans coexist with the gigantic ape and worship him as a guardian deity, and Skull Island on Netflix is no exception to this. The 7th episode focuses on Kong's backstory to some extent, and we get to see the adorable bond that he shared with a native teenage girl. She was a part of various adventures along with Kong and almost found a way to communicate with him despite the linguistic barrier. In this series, Kong has been described to stand tall at almost 100 feet, and all other creatures on the island are wary of the brute force that he possesses. He protects the natives of the island from various threats until one day the sea monster takes away his favorite person. When Charlie, Annie, Mike, Cap and the others arrive on the island, Kong is shown to lead a life of solitude, where he is still missing his human companion. While he is remarkably powerful and capable of ripping apart any threat on the island, Kong also shows signs of intelligence when he doesn't go after the sea monster in the water, knowing that he would have the bottom hand in an aquatic conflict. The climactic duel between the two is truly iconic, and it is almost a fight of equals. In fact, there is a brief moment where the sea monster actually gets the better of Kong, but eventually the gigantic ape emerges as the winner and rips it in half. He also proves to have a compassionate heart when he saves Annie and her dog after realizing that their bond is something similar to what he shared with a native islander.
Is a giant man-eating monster.
Dog, the bear-wolf hybrid creature. This bear-wolf mutant creature might be an adorable pet for Annie, the young girl, but he is still a vicious killer and an intimidating beast. Annie calls him Dog, and this creature is roughly the size of an adult male lion. He has natural feral instincts, and Annie keeps stating that he is not her pet, but the creature had grown to love and care for her over the years. Both Annie and Dog had a tragic origin story where Annie's father fought Dog's father many years ago, and both of them died from their injuries. Dog was only a puppy back then, and Annie was a little girl, and they developed a wonderful bond in these dire circumstances. Annie had accompanied her father to a remote island somewhere around Skull Island, and his death meant that she had to grow up among the various other creatures residing there. Dog protected her from all threats, and this continues in the series as well. Here, Annie's mother has led a rescue party of mercenaries to retrieve her daughter, but Annie gets to know about her real intentions much later. Initially, the mercenaries kept trying to abduct Annie, and Dog kept protecting her from them. Her canine friend couldn't be killed with bullets, although he did suffer some minor injuries. He was incredibly fast, had sharp claws and teeth, and he was an excellent climber. There are moments where he climbs trees and leaps around effortlessly, and he could fend off most of the threats on Skull Island. Dog is always shown to be somewhat wary of humans other than Annie, but he does understand when she befriends someone and doesn't attack them. He is also quite intelligent and quick to grasp commands and instructions given to him. There are several situations where Dog is willing to put his life at risk in order to save Annie, and their friendship is truly one of the best things about the show. Unfortunately, we don't get to see if Dog is finally reunited with Annie, and we sincerely hope that Season 2 of Skull Island will put this uncertainty to rest. Massive subterranean crab-like creatures. When Charlie and Mike wash up on shore in Skull Island following the shipwreck, they are immediately greeted by one of the severe threats on the island. These creatures lurk underneath the sandy beaches and are quick to attack the young boys after catching them off guard. They look like regular crabs, but their size is almost 3 times that of a human. A major part of their body is hidden under the sand, and only their pincer claws strike out to grab the prey. It is indicated that these creatures are unable to see, and they probably attack their victims based on the motion that they can detect from under the sand and the sound that they hear. One of the creatures emerges outside to reveal a large mouth and body, but they are clearly not comfortable above the surface. The boys soon figure out a stealth tactic to confuse these creatures, and when Annie turns up, she is more than happy to use a spear to try and hunt them for meat. However, this confrontation is cut short when a massive roar is heard from Kong at a distance, and the creatures quickly slip back into the sand. It is clear that they stay clear of Kong at all costs, which is understandable because Kong makes a quick meal of creatures that are much bigger and more powerful than these subterranean crabs. Giant bug camouflaged as a rock. This creature has a rather shocking appearance and manages to take the viewers by surprise because people are just getting ready to face the bizarre wilderness of Skull Island. Cap is taking a walk through the mysterious forest when he suddenly comes across a rock, which seems somewhat strange. As he walks closer, the rock quickly stands up, revealing a gigantic bug underneath. Almost every creature on Skull Island has predatory instincts, and this bug seemed to be no different. Just as it was about to to attack Cap, one of the mercenaries fires multiple rounds from his machine gun to immobilize the creature. The ploy doesn't work, but it distracts the bug from Cap and redirects its attack on the mercenary. He gets eaten by the bug as Cap watches in horror, but the intervention allows him the opportunity to walk away from this threat. Prehistoric reptilian crocodile monster. Skull Island seems to be like a place that has stood the test of time and evolution because every creature that you find here is of prehistoric size and proportion. Another shocking instance of the unreal flora and fauna on the island is the large and vicious crocodile-like creature. There is a murky stream running through the island and the creature resides there. It is what a large saltwater crocodile crossed with a Komodo dragon would look like. It has 4 legs which can be used to run a lot faster than what you would expect from a crocodile. It has horrible yellow eyes and a sharp set of teeth that can rip apart a human in a matter of seconds. After consuming one of the mercenaries, the creature goes after Charlie and Mike. They find themselves helpless as the creature goes up to the banks to chase them. And it continues till they drop into a waterfall and take a 100 feet plunge below. The strong current in the stream proves to be no deterrent for the creature as it jumps in after them. It almost makes a meal of Charlie and Mike when suddenly the hunter becomes the hunted. Just as the creature is about to catch the boys, Kong picks it out of the water and pops it into his mouth like a quick snack.
I am the monster.
Massive hawk-like predatory bird. When you are on Skull Island, threats come in all shapes and sizes, and they can be airborne. This powerful predator is like a giant hawk-like bird with deadly talons that are easily capable of grabbing a human and flying away. It swoops in without a warning and grabs one of the mercenaries in its claws before zooming away as the others watch in shock. Annie's mother uses the predator bird quite smartly and lures it to grab Annie's dog so that she can be isolated and secured. Until this point, Annie's mother did not know the full story and she was still viewing her vicious pet as a threat. The plan works, but luckily dog survives being carried away by the bird. It even grabs Charlie and takes it up to Kong's lair. It is later revealed that the predator bird has an alliance with Kong and it regularly brings in food for the gigantic ape. In the penultimate episode, where we get to witness Kong's detailed backstory, the predator bird can be seen playing a key role and even fighting alongside the King of Skull Island. This massive bird will remind you of the mythological rock, and this aerial threat proves to be a serious concern for the shipwrecked survivors on the island. Skullcrawlers, the two-legged amphibian monsters. Those who are familiar with the strange world of Skull Island and Kong will know the Skullcrawlers as one of his old nemesis. Due to their reputation, these creatures prove to be the only other creature apart from the sea monster that dares to take on Kong. Of course, they only do so when they are forced to, but their first instinct is not to flee but to fight. Individually, they possess no great threat, but in a group, they can be quite a handful. They are seen preying on something when Kong decides to attack these creatures. The Skullcrawlers fight back, and they can quickly change colors to blend with the surroundings. These creatures also have a sharp set of teeth, and one of them even manages to land a powerful bite on Kong's shoulder, injuring him slightly. They have large bulbous eyes and a blue tongue that can extend much longer than their body length to grab their prey. Eventually, Kong proves to be far too powerful for the creatures, and they are crushed to a violent death after the ape goes into berserker rage mode after being injured. Underground bugs with elaborate tunnel networks. While exploring the island with Mike and Annie, Charlie walks behind, and all of a sudden, he falls through a ditch in the ground. Luckily, his friends discover him quickly enough, but there seems to be no way to get him out. Mike joins him in the ditch to figure out a way to get him out, but they are both confused about how to step outside. Finally, Annie jumps in as well, and she tells them about how these tunnels are actually used by large bugs who set up elaborate colonies under the ground. Finally, one of these bugs emerges from a tunnel and is about to attack the trio when Dog jumps in to save Annie. The bug is intimidated by the massive beast and it quickly escapes through the tunnels. Massive carnivorous plants. Usually carnivorous plants make do with insects and small animals, but not on Skull Island. Here we come across a carnivorous plant that hid deceptively in a forested area. When Annie's mother approached the plant, it opened up one of its massive petals and swallowed her whole in the wink of an eye. The petal sealed shut, and it took the valiant efforts of Cap and the leader of the mercenaries who cut through the plant and got her out alive. This may have been an insignificant moment, but it is a reminder of how dangerous the island can be even without the various monstrous animals running loose. Mini dinosaur-like creature. This two-legged creature looks like a miniature version of T-Rex or a giant version of a vicious lizard. It is seen briefly in the penultimate episode where it attacks Kong's best friend, the young native girl. This creature has a long tail which is a lot longer than its body, and the sharp set of fangs and teeth indicate its carnivorous nature. Kong, however, kills it in a second, and the creature never stands a chance against such a superior opponent. Human-sized centipede. If creepy crawlies send shivers down your spine, this creature is going to make you feel rather uncomfortable. When Cap goes looking for his son, he is suddenly attacked by a giant human-sized centipede. Just as the creature is about to attack him, Mike shoots it dead using a flare gun. He is barely able to stand from the poisoning effect of the sea monster, but he still saves Cap from certain death through this heroic act. Giant hostile chicken. Before it becomes breakfast for Charlie, Mike and Annie, a giant chicken suddenly attacked them in the forest. It was a rather unexpected moment because you would hardly associate a chicken with a violent creature. However, it was big enough to take down a human, and they required a special intervention by a dog, who quickly killed the giant bird. The trio then roasted the bird, which ended up providing a hearty meal for them. Aloe vera turtle. This is one of the rare creatures on Skull Island that does not seem inclined to attack humans. The turtle is built like a snapping turtle, and it is as big as two humans put together. One of its most interesting features is the aloe vera-like structure on its shell, which sets it apart from any turtle that you may have seen. Instead of attacking the humans, it simply walks away without causing any trouble. Larger than usual cats and dogs with plants growing on them. Adding to the list of non-hostile animals on the island, there are these cats and dogs which are much larger than usual and seem to have some plant-like substance growing on their backs. This is probably used to camouflage them in this deadly environment, where they can blend in with the surrounding plants because of this growth. While the cat is left unharmed, the dog-like creature is consumed as a quick snack for Kong later in the series. While their presence is almost insignificant, it feels good to know that there are at least a few creatures on the island that don't necessarily attack humans. The show might be receiving somewhat mixed reviews, but we love the innovative version of the familiar Kong and his mysterious island. Let us know in the comments below what you think of this new take on Kong and Skull Island. And don't forget to tell us about the creatures from the show that grabbed your attention.